All right. So whenever you get a reply, there is almost always going to be a matching template for that reply. Now, obviously, if it's one of the stages that I talked about before that you're moving it to, such as wrong number, not interested, not selling, if it's one of those stages, you don't have to pick a template because the system will already send the template for you when you move it to that stage. However, if it's somebody who's a yes to sell or something along those lines, there's pretty much a response for every single section. Now, the way that these are organized is when you come in here, they should pretty much be in order, and this one is out of order. So you've got I got some feedback.
I know. Give me 1 sec. Let me.
I'll send you the recording.
No, it's I when I log my computer back again, I got. Let me mute this. All right, that should have killed it right there.
All right. So basically the questions you want to go in order. When somebody says yes to sell, there's a question 1 and then a 1.2 and then a 1.3, and I'll show you the broader picture of everything now. So basically there's a lot of other ones here that some of these might apply, some not. So like, you might use this for like just a random follow-up question, like if somebody was going somewhere, instead of like actually typing something in, you can just, hey, how's the sale process going with your home? Any good proposals or contracts yet? Um, uh, Different little like, okay, follow up, no response, a missed call. A lot of these you probably won't use. Like I said, the not interested, like these templates are in here, but they're not, they're ones that you typically won't use because um, the the uh, the system already does this stuff automatically for you. The ones that you might use a little bit more often, people will ask if you're a real estate agent. So, real or like realtor slash real estate agent, like question mark. So that's like, are you a realtor or real estate agent? Like these are your description of the template. Like this is like what somebody says to you.
Right,
And
right.
this is going to
Yeah, I
be what
figured.
you
I
say
was
to them.
peeking through there. Yeah, I love how you did that.
So,
Yep.
uh, the under contract, under contract or pending, that's like if somebody says under contract or pending, you pick that template. It's going to say, okay, when is your closing date, so we can follow up and be a backup option in case it doesn't close. If they say they listed it with a realtor, where is that? Listed on the MLS. It's listed, talk to my realtor. We don't buy anything on MLS. We like to save the owner 6% commission and typically pay closing costs. When does it expire so we can follow up? If and you can change these any way you want to, if you don't like the way it sounds, but this one is the one that you'll probably use the most often. Where is it? What is your offer? So like people will ask you like, you say, hey, look, I'm interested
Constantly.
in buying the area. What's your offer? Well, I'd love to make you a fair offer, but I really need to ask some questions to see if we would even be a good fit for you. So, you know, and you can even add to that, like, let's say, I think it'd probably even be better to say, um, actually, you know what? I'm cool with that the way it is, because most of the time people will just say, they'll say, okay, ask your questions, and then when they
Hmm.
say, okay, ask your questions, you start in immediately with the yes to sell question. So again,
Okay.
these are all in order, question one, question 1.2, and you pay attention to the parentheses here because some of these will only apply to certain leads. So
I
if
see
they
that
say,
land
yeah,
houses.
if
Yep.
they say it's
Okay.
land, then you obviously are only going to ask the ones that have land next to them. So, this one says, what's the tax assessed value? Do you know how much new houses are going for in the area? Just kind of, talking a little bit
Testing
to
them
them,
out,
testing
kind of.
them out, seeing what they're right. And then obviously like so you know the four pillars of real estate. You got timeline, condition, price, and motivation. So obviously the condition section is not going to apply to land. So there's no land stuff in the condition section. Um, the timeline stuff doesn't matter if it's timeline or motivation. Doesn't really matter uh, if it's land. You can kind of go through those anyway. Like how long have you been thinking about getting rid of the property? So anyways, question. So as soon as they say yes to selling, if it's a house, you're going to come in here and you're going to say, okay, sounds good. Is it vacant, rented, or do you currently live in the property?
Mm-hmm.
If it's rented, then you go to this one that says only if it's rented. Okay, how much does it typically
Wow.
rent for? And do the tenants pay on time? When is their contract up? Um, if uh, if not, then you skip over to question 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being tear down, 10 being HGTV magazine ready. What would you rate this property? Then they tell you what it was rated. When was the last time you updated these items? Then they tell you, and the last time they updated them, the next question is there anything else we should know about it? That's kind of trying to uncover any unknowns that you might not know. My brother lives there and he won't move out, whatever. Then it goes to question 3. Okay, how long you been thinking about getting rid of it? So if we came to an agreement, you wouldn't be ready to close in the next 30 days or so, would you? Then after timeline,
These are fire, dude.
after timeline, it goes into section 4, which is the price. What number did you have in mind as far as price? If you don't know, just a ballpark range is fine. I love that because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I won't hold you to it. Just give me some
Yeah.
type of number. Now, if somebody gives you a price, then you go to this one. Okay, got it. If we can pay all the closing costs and there's no realtor fees, inspections, or repairs, is that the best you can do on the price? You can kind of change that if you don't like, is that the best you
I
can do?
like it.
All right.
I thought that was great.
And then if they say I don't know a price, then you can say it seems like you haven't put much thought into it. If you did know or were to take a guess, give me some idea of what you say it's worth in as is condition. Again, just like really poking and prodding for the price because
Mm-hmm.
we do not want to make an offer first.
Mm-hmm.
We want to try and get them to
Mm-hmm.
make an offer first. So this is kind of a part 2 to that. Okay, so what do you think it would be worth after it's all fixed up? Not like you're always going to use that. It's, most of the
Mm-hmm.
time people will give you a price if you ask this question, but if they still don't give you a price here, you can come down to no price, make me an offer if you need to. This is kind of a cool little thing that I picked up um, from my mentor, which is if you were selling a car on Craigslist and you put no price, people would try to get as close to zero as possible. Most people post a high price and hope they can sell in the middle. Why not just give me your pie in the sky price and we can see if we can get close enough for it to work for both of us? This way, like you're still trying to draw that price out of them, like at that point when somebody thinks about it, they're like, oh, and to be honest, another thing that I heard from somebody else that has always stuck with me, where somebody's just pegging you for price, is, hey, I got a dollar in my pocket, how's that sound, like,
Right.
ha ha ha. And you maybe add in a LOL or something if you're doing it through
Mm-hmm.
text message, but like that way you can kind of break the ice and you can see if, no, are you crazy? No, I wouldn't take any less than 120,000.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10 between the Craigslist and that, you'll get some type of price out of them.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I typically say, will aim for somewhere around like 40 to 50% of the ARV and see. And most of the time, like at this point, you already kind of know the condition of the property, at least their version of the condition of the property. So you can kind of guess like roundabouts where you might need to be on that ARV if what they told you is correct on the condition. So you can kind of make it in a guess offer if you had to, and you
Mm-hmm.
aim low and let them try and bring you up. But I would say we probably get the price out of them like 95% of the time. Like there's only a small amount of people who want to just keep pushing for make me an offer, you call me, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Um so anyways, once we get past all of that, I just kind of go into like just some talking really for the motivation. Well, what do you think the best features of the property are? It really does sound like a great property. Why not just keep it? That's more like and you don't have to go through all of these, but like, have you ever thought about listing with an agent or renting it? Like, obviously that wouldn't work for for rent, but like, this is just gate. Like, you're basically like seeing what your competition is. Have you thought
Mm-hmm.
about listing it? Well, if they've already talked to a realtor and they thought about listing it and they're about to list it in a month, it's probably going to be something that you don't want to waste too much time on. So, what, and then this honestly, because I like the owner finance stuff, I go into this. What is most important to you, selling fast or getting the highest price?
Well, I like the
Um,
owner finance too, especially with these rates going up.
Right.
Uh,
So
yeah, I'm gonna
what's
start.
most important to you, selling fast or getting the highest price? So, now you're gearing up like, and this is mostly going to be for like those people who want like full market value, where you can say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, what's most important to you, selling fast or getting the highest price? And a lot of those are going to say, well, getting the highest price. And then you can kind of go into your owner or your seller finance questions, which is like we usually buy, and this is something I came up with. We usually buy two ways. One, all cash, where we look for a discount, kind of like not wanting to pay the price tag at a car lot when you walk in with a briefcase full of cash. And two, we can pay full asking price but need some time to build equity and cash you out. This would net you more than any other way
Mm.
you can sell because there's no commission, closing costs, inspection. Would you be willing to give us some time to get you out and to get to cash you out in exchange for getting top dollar?
And so even if they're
Um,
not 100% sure what you're alluding to, they'll say, "Oh yeah, that sounds good. What explain the top dollar to me."
yep. And then, if they kind of say that they say no or they say they'll list it on market, you can use this one. We are seeing on average, sellers are losing 10 to 15% of the sale price from 6% realtor commissions, 2% closing costs, 2% buyer concessions. Buyers ask for down payment assistance or seller to pay their closing costs and repairs from inspection. Inspectors believe they haven't done their job if they don't find a problem. On a sale price of 200,000, that's 20K plus. You don't mind trading that equity for a quick close though, right? Um, and then there's one more, basically, if it gets to where like let's say you get down here, you get through the motivation, everything lines up for a cash deal. They're okay, their price is good, you like it, you don't even care about getting them to asking them if they would do owner financing. You want to skip past that. This is kind of like your final question. Okay, looks like I have everything I need. What time and day would be good for our acquisitions team to call you with our offer? So like, you kind of go through everything, and if they're asking for full retail or close to it, I tell them to go down through questions 5.3 to 6.1. And then at the end, of everything, then you would put it into the or hit it with the final question, which is setting it up for an appointment for acquisitions to call them. And I personally like to ask them what day and time is good for them. I actually like, kind of like elaborating on that a little bit, like, well, what days of the week and times of day are good for you? So that way I've got like a um, kind of a range on when I can reach them so that I'm not like pinned down. Well, tomorrow at 5 p.m. is great. And then like I'm working tomorrow at 5 p.m. and I'm busy and I can't get to them. Then I look like I missed my appointment, so
Mm-hmm.
it may be better for you if you come in and edit and say, okay, what days of the week and times of day are usually good for you. That way, you've got it to where it's they're giving you a range, not so much like an exact time and day that you missed the appointment.
That's perfect. Look how many of them there are. That's amazing, man.
Yeah. And I have had this like this for, I don't know, 8 months to a year. No, probably a year or more. And it works. I don't really need any, I don't find that I'm adding any templates. Like, I don't really feel like I need any other templates. I may come in here and change one a little bit, tweak it a little bit every now and then, but they're good. And this is pretty much all that you'll need to be able to have a full length conversation with someone who's willing to sell without having to worry about, well, what should my response be? You don't need to think about that. It's here. Pretty much every response that you could think of is here for the most part. So all the ground floor guy does, the beginning pipeline guy does, is they just come in and they pick whatever the response is that coincides with the question that the person asked or the response that they gave. So
Exactly. And that's almost spelled out for them on if the question looks like this question, use this one. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, so you just come down here to this little notebook, little pad, whatever it is, and then you would just scroll here and say, okay, well, look at the bold. What stage of the conversation am I in? Oh, seller made us. So if this is another good one that I didn't get to mention. So somebody says, I want 75K. Your response is, seller made us an offer. I might be able to make that work, but would need to find out more about it. Would it be okay if I asked you some questions about the property? So, like, okay, they shot you a price. Great. We don't really need to go through the price section of it because they already gave us a price. Maybe I can ask them if we paid all of the closing costs, there was no commissions, blah, blah, blah. Is that the best they can do on the price? I might be able to ask them that later in the conversation, but I need to get the condition. I need to find out what the timeline is like. I need to find out what the motivation is in order to make sure that this is a good lead. So, like, I still need to go through the questions. So even though they give me a price, I'm not going to just shoot that to acquisition. I'm going to try and go through the process of getting the answers to the other questions. I need to know if it's vacant, rented, or they live there. I need to know, if there is tenants. I need to know if they pay on time, how much it rents for, when their contract is up. If I need to know the condition of the property. Need to know what needs to be done to it. I need these answers in order to say yes, this is ready for acquisitions, so acquisitions can just look at the notes and be like, okay, we're good.
I love it.
So
It
another
flows,
thing,
man. It flows so well, and you can tell you've built it out over time, where you've like thought of all
yeah,
the
for sure. So
troubleshooting stuff.
when somebody replies, I have it set up to where when now this is only in that my favorite campaign that I use, that initial reach campaign, the Fizzbozilla. Whenever somebody replies in that, I've started to use the notes category. So, like, if you click on the person's thing, and you click here in notes. If they reply, I will show you what mine looks like. When somebody replies to my campaign, um, and I come in here and I go to notes, that's not a good example. Let me go to one of the newer. Oh, I didn't do it for this one. Go back here. Oh, he's already cleaned his old thing out. Right. So I don't know if this is gonna do what I wanted to do because I didn't add. See, every time something like isn't working properly, you gotta add it. But basically, let's go to conversations of, let's do my acquisitions person. Okay. So what happens is, whenever they reply to that particular campaign, it will automatically, it'll put in the notes, it'll add their name, their address, I think it's supposed to add their phone number as well, and then it'll give like little tidbits of the conversation that they're supposed to be answering here. So like your person could come over to the notes and they could say, okay, they said it's a house. They said it's vacant. They said it's a 3 out of 10. It's a 3 out of 10. What is this? Sorry, man. Investor brain. So they you can go through and they can add their little notes here, and then um, you can actually get the answers that you need, like right here, pretty in the notes. Now, the other tricky part of this is like I tried to set it up to where like these notes, because I'm like, look, I need a central place where we can see all the notes from the conversation, where acquisitions can add notes, I can add notes, and it's all there. Um, what I really wanted to happen was I wanted an email sent to me with all these notes in it. The problem is that the uh, I have to show you a little later, but basically the automations portion that will send you an email, it's kind of like when you build out the campaigns where there is custom values is what you pick. So like one of your custom values is going to be like customer first name, or it'll be customer address or client address or whatever it is. But the problem is that this notes here is not a custom field. Like you can't add that into an email as a custom field. So, but if you have a notes category as one of your custom fields in your contact info, then it can. So what I tell my acquisitions person is, hey, once you write the notes in, once your notes are filled out and you've got notes on the call, just copy it here and then come and paste it over here in the notes here under additional info. That way, when I get the automated email, the notes are in it. And you do have to save here, so make sure you save. So that way, when she moves this, what happens is she will move, and actually you can go to your contact and do this, but you can do it here, or you can go back and do it in the other screen. But if you're in the zoomed in screen, like where you only see this contact here, you come down here to your opportunities, and then you can't, it's hard to see it, but there's a little paper and a pencil right here, and you click that and it'll ask you what stage you want it to go to. So when it goes to final negotiations pipeline, and basically there's different boxes here. When it goes to that pipeline and she picks a box, it will send me an email that'll say like, I'll show you actually, probably be easier. Um, so this is how it comes in. Like I get these emails as there are notes here. There's all the information there, and I can go ahead and forward this to someone else if I need to, or I can, send it to my acquisition person, reply with some questions or whatever. But I get the name, I get their number, I get their address, I get their beds, baths, year bill, last sale price, last sale date, um, and then I get like these are like some other custom fields that I have in my thing, because sometimes the programs that I use to upload the leads might say whether or not it's vacant in there. So I keep that information and I put it into the system. I'm gonna get the answers down here in the notes anyway, but house square foot, lot square foot, these don't happen to be in this contact, but the tax assessed value, the estimated market value. So again, I'm uploading my list with all this data. So that's why I have this data in here. If you don't upload your list with this data, then you won't have that. But I like to upload it with it so that, hey, when it forwards over to me, I've got all the details I need to be able to like do like some quick and easy due diligence before I even contact them. I can read through this email in 5 minutes or whatever before I make the call, and I've got all the details from the call, all the details about the property, all the information. If I want, I can sit here and click on this, and then do a Google search for the address and pull it up on Zillow, and see it. Now I don't even know. I didn't even think about that until just now. I might actually, since the system has like these, the link, I don't know if you know this, but if you go to your contact and you go to general info, there's a Zillow link here. So you can
Mm,
actually like click the Zillow link and it'll bring you up to the property on Zillow right there.
yeah, that's incredible,
And
dude.
there's a Google Maps link too. So what I'm thinking is, I wonder if when I send these emails, if I
You have that
can
link in there.
have that link in there. I'm gonna ask support about that. I need to write that down somewhere. Um, so that pretty much is how that email is gonna look when it sends over to you. And so the way I've got it set up, and this is something you got to kind of think about, is that like when, well, let me take a step back and let me go to settings here so I can show you the pipelines. All right, so the acquisitions pipeline is like your second stage. Like the first stage is your beginning stage pipeline, beginning pipeline. That's going to be where you kind of like separate all of the no-goes, and the ones that are actually interested, you kind of push them further down the pipeline. And just like, not further down the pipeline, further down the funnel. So just like this looks here, like the objective is to continuously funnel people further and further and further until you, at the end, you get a deal. So
Mm-hmm.
when when the leads go to acquisitions, they're going to fit one of three categories. So the first category is new lead wants a call only. Now, this is somebody who's like,
Mm-hmm.
I need a call, I need a phone call, I don't do text message, whatever the case is, or call me. They're trying to like push for a call. That means that somebody's going to have to go through those questions over the phone. So they need to be in that category. Second category would be new lead. They answered the questions. That means you went through all the questions. They answered the questions. It's ready for acquisitions. Good to go. Here you go. The next one is, this is more so for me, because what I do is I have these calls forwarded to my phone, and let's say I answer one of these calls and I actually go over the script with them. I get all of the details needed, or maybe I didn't get all of them, but I got most of them. And it's like the lead needs to be moved to the next stage. Then it would be like a new lead answered incoming call. So because I answered the call and I asked them the questions, it's going into that category. So basically, that's telling the acquisitions person that, hey, you need to listen to the voice recording in the system in order to understand about the conversation. Now that's another thing. Do you have your voice recording turned on?
Yeah, I turn it on for all of them.
Okay, perfect.
It's well
Um,
worth it.
yeah, definitely. Because not only is it good training, but uh, it's also great for you to go back for notes or for you to understand like what was the context of this conversation, like was this person like easy to deal with or were they not, like what, maybe you find some stuff that was hidden that wasn't in the notes of the person before you that you now know are helpful in getting this person a solution that fits their needs. But anyways, those are the three initial stages of acquisition. So when your beginning person comes to or moves it from the beginning pipeline to the acquisitions pipeline, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to fit one of these three categories.
Got you.
And then when they go in there,
So those are
that,
kind of the qualifiers for, hey, if it fits one of these three, uh, move it, and we'll get to it.
yeah. And then your acquisitions person's job is to go in, make sure that this person got all the information they needed, kind of have an introductory call to like, hey, we're coming in to try and make you an offer. See if if maybe can get the price down a little bit lower. Use some negotiation tactics to see how close they can get it to where it needs to be. Then they come in and once they do that, once they speak with them, then they move it to the due diligence stage. That kind of just this is there mainly so that they know what properties they have to run comps on. The way that I work it is I like to add like I'll have them go into the system that they're using for comps, copy and paste the comps that they get into the notes. So that way, when that email comes over to me, it's got comps in it. So I can see like here, that one doesn't have it. That one doesn't have it. Well, it's not pretty. It's not the best way to do it right now, but I like to have comps there so that I know what I'm dealing with when I get on the phone with them. Now I could always go back to REI Reply and I could see the comps in the notes, or I could always re-research the property in PropStream or whatever to get those comps. But I would much prefer that if the acquisitions goes and does comps, or if anybody on the team does comps, that I can just go to the notes and see those comps so that I don't have to worry about going to do that research again when it's already been done. So that's just a tip on your due diligence stage. But then once they do due diligence, it automatically goes over to make offer follow up. Then now another note here is that like it's set to where if they go into any of these three categories, it goes into a calling campaign so that the person can just go in and do the manual dial so that they can just call through each of the leads that are waiting for them to call. So the call campaign is just to kind of keep it to where the acquisitions person signs in, all they have to do is go into the calling campaigns and they can just go through and go to each lead. It calls them automatically one by one. So when you end the phone, write the notes, whatever you do, you click the next button, goes to the next person and the next person on that campaign so that you can just call through them in the system. Then also, for the final negotiations person or anybody else in the system, you're calling through the system. then it keeps the recordings there so that if you need notes for the future or you need to go back and listen to the recording, you can. Um, then again, the follow-up categories is kind of like, okay, they're not answering my calls. I need to put them in follow-up ASAP so that I can kind of drip some text messages, voicemail drops, whatever. That way it can keep them in the pipeline and keep marketing to them, but I'm not wasting a bunch of time calling them. I think it's scheduled to like call them 3 or 4 times, and then it goes into that. Maybe I can't remember. Um, no, I
All
think what
right,
it
hang on. Do this for me. So I'm fading fast, and now it's the water hose with the. Let's wrap this one. Send me those recordings. I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna get up before JC gets up. Review both these, and then I'm gonna train my guy on. Basically, now the this is a good